and bro, we hopped up on that bus. It's Chill, Hyde, and Raji, glad you came to whip with us. Got no GPS or telling what we gon' discuss. Shout out Thompson Farms, they got the melons and the nuts. We like a trampoline, yeah, we jumping on this beat. Early morning shows, got the Crocs up on my feet. Don't worry about the fire, yeah, cause we will bring the heat. We on that yellow.
Good morning, everybody. What's going on this morning? Welcome to another episode of the Big Ugly Sports Show. We are your first source for mediocre sports coverage. Got a big show for you today. It's the first show of the 2023 year. My name is Chill. Let's get everybody else in the room. Sitting to my right, he is a super proud, die-hard dog, class of 2007. Still oblivious to how people really feel about him. Punctuality continues to become an issue. Bottom row looks like he bit a brick. He is the pride of Buddy Johnson Road, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Adam Hightower.
Wow, what an intro. Great energy, too.
New year, baby. Hey, new year, new me. Sitting across from him, he's a Seminole for life. He's proud as he can be at this time, too. His gullet will store food for several days. Diaper needs changing on the reg. He's got napkins for hand. He's big. He's sloppy. He's Big Raji. Is that pretty good?
Yeah, I love it.
Was he not loud enough?
Raji, is your mic on?
I don't think it is.
What, you got to turn it on down there?
But it was on earlier.
He's not registering.
Hey, go ahead and get into technical difficulties.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, port one. Issues in
Hey,
port
got
one.
it.
You back?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Sorry about that. It wasn't intentional, maybe. I don't know.
Sorry.
So here we are, guys. First episode of 2023, year two. Well, still year one, I guess. Year two calendar year for the podcast. So excited about what everything's ahead of us.
First full year.
First full year. So
If we see this thing through.
before we get started, let's just kind of recap what's happened since the last time we were on here. And sad news, I guess, coming out of NFL last night with the injured player that went into cardiac arrest. Man, I've never seen anything like it. And I watched the beginning of the game, and I'm just not a huge NFL fan. The Falcons aren't playing, so I cut it off. And then, our guy that we always rag on here, Ed, was like, "Hey, bro, are y'all watching the game?" And we weren't. So I flipped over, and it was as the ambulance was on the field, and it was just real hard. And they kept going to like the studio. It was kind of one of those things where it was awkward almost to watch because
Nobody knew how to handle it.
Nobody knew what to say, and so just scary times. I can't imagine. I know everyone I heard on the show talk, Troy Aikman and all of them are like, as long as I've been playing, most of them said I've never seen an ambulance on the field, much less CPR administered on the field. So, prayers for Damar Hamlin and really the Bills organization, his family. Hopefully, I know as of this morning, he was not breathing on his own. He had a pulse, and Kimbo said his vitals were coming back. So, hopefully he can pull through this and come out of it. But I know we talked about it a little bit before we came on air with Skip Bayless's tweet.
Yeah.
Just insensitive. He's paid to be controversial, and that's why people watch him. But you got to feel like
that one might have been a little overboard.
A lot. He's getting drilled.
Well, he deservedly so, in my opinion.
So I expect his tweet was something along the lines of talking about the importance of that game because they ended up canceling the game, and he was saying this game needs to be played because of the playoff ramifications. But obviously in a situation like that, it does not. So I'm sure his show this morning will be highly viewed and expect some sort of explanation for his tweet. So
I have to turn on that YouTube TV this morning, try to watch it.
Yeah, surely he'll backpedal. There's no way he stands by that comment.
I would hope so.
I don't know. He's kind of a loose cannon.
I'm wondering what Shannon on there with him will. Sure.
Well, he took some personal attacks at Shannon like a couple weeks ago. They got pretty heated on the show. So there's no telling.
I wonder, is that more like WWE?
I think a lot of it is, but I think some of the stuff that Skip was saying was like attacking Shannon personally in his like playing career. So I don't know. I think some of it is, but I think he'll cross that line.
Shannon was the reason I chose 84 when I was a kid to wear.
Would you say y'all's games were pretty similar?
If by similar you mean Not
Same.
anywhere
Not similar at all.
Not at anything. Not anything.
Same
close.
number.
Yes, that's where the similarities ended.
Yeah.
Well, and position. That was it.
More than most. That's more than me and Raj had in common with.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, what about y'all? What we got on one weekend recaps?
I mean, mine's pretty boring, but
Nothing new.
yeah, no, I usually have some pretty good stuff. I
That's
feel
not
like,
boring.
but I feel like my weekend observation was like over New Year's. You know, I had some buddies come in, and it was just really nice just to be like super low key, like go out to eat and like spend New Year's at home because I used to want to go out and like do everything at New Year's. I feel like as I've gotten older,
So a
It's just-
mature Raji in 2023 is what we're seeing.
I want to go fully.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just nice to just be really low key.
What'd you eat, little company?
Yeah.
What'd you go with?
We had the nachos appetizer and then with a burger. God,
Try again.
Yeah. it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Was
Rich.
it?
Yeah.
Shout out to Rich
was.
and them over at Company Supply.
That's right.
Really good food.
I would take a free burger. They want to sell one.
So took the new year in at home just with your peeps.
Yeah. It was low key. It was awesome.
I'm saying I was in the living room by myself while my family was asleep.
I had the best New Year's Eve celebration in
Tell
my
us a little
life.
bit about it, Height.
Well, first of all, I want to say I had my Michael Jordan moment, you know, when circling to when he was sick with the flu in the finals, big game, Bulls win.
So in case you're just tuning in, Height is a combination of Shannon Sharp, Michael Jordan.
And that's just
Some of the
to
best
start. Just to
professional
start. And we hadn't even
athletes
got
in the
really
world.
hit into the show yet. But so I had somebody offer me a free ticket to the game. Well, then he says, hey, I got another ticket. And then he says, hey, I got another ticket. So here I am sitting with 3 tickets to invite some people. End up taking my wife and my son, go to the fan fest. Anyway, I feel terrible. I mean, I'm body aches, like flu-like symptoms, just like Jordan.
Mask or no mask?
Oh, no mask. It's 2022, baby. We're not wearing masks. But anyway, I mean, I just battle. I'm like, my wife's like, you know, you're sick. You got something like.
Were you thinking in that moment, what would MJ like? Are you thinking how he just powered through, like his mindset?
Initially, I just was like, man, what would I do? I'm worried about, you know, maybe I may get somebody else sick. And then I started thinking it's the dogs. I can't worry about other people getting sick.
I mean, if somebody passes, but
I just get Bayless.
Chuck, that's too far.
well, you just said you're not worried about anybody getting sick.
I knew it wasn't anything major, but so anyway, I just load up on medication and I told my wife I'm powering through. Let's go. That's what I did, just like MJ. And dogs won.
And word is you stuck your finger in somebody's
I
throat.
did accidentally. You know how you're sitting in the chair and you may put your arm by it. So my son was sitting to my left. I put my arm around behind him.
Which finger went in?
My left pinky goes in this person's drink in the cup. You know, the cup holder's there, and I go like, I don't know what's this called? Knuckle deep. I mean, I just
Did you go here?
first. No, I
Taste
didn't.
it.
I kind of flicked it off. But and then
So you're sitting beside this dude sick, and
and
then
I'm
put
in
your
front.
sick,
He's behind.
then put your sick fingers in his drink.
All right, did he see it, and did you say something about it?
I didn't say anything about it. There was no acknowledgement on his end. I just, you know.
Where you reckon he was from? Probably North Georgia somewhere, based on seeing him. So if you're tuning in, bud, and you're sick, here's ground zero.
But
right here.
here's the thing to remember. You know, a little Excedrin migraine. Just keep rolling. Be sure to hydrate. I don't know.
I'm glad you
when
powered
when
through.
that person looked at Hightower, where they think Hightower was from?
Well, I had on my Georgia pullover that I got from Ed.
Probably east of them. That's probably
He
exactly
looks
where
like he's
they're
east of 'em.
east of
Oh,
them.
let
Yeah.
me see if my back of my neck shakes.
They looked at him and said, "If I've seen Buddy Johnson Road, that's what it looks like in person."
Oh, now.
Ooh, deep.
My neck shaved.
Yeah, if I don't want Eddie Hayward Floyd to 14th back here, I'm all right.
Oh,
But
so
anyway, so great New Year's Eve. I mean, can't even put into words. The game was up and down, and I know we're going to get into that in a minute, but just the emotional roller coaster And then the just battling through the dogs and just pulling us out that victory right at midnight, and best New Year's Eve ever. So
well, last thing, I'm going to ready to get yours.
I've already done mine.
Was yours just I'll be at home?
The injured player.
I know if that's how we're starting to show out.
Yeah.
My boy Mike Norvell is literally the Portal King, by the way.
got a dude from LaGrange. What? Hey, Portal King from LaGrange.
Number one portal class in the nation.
So
Just
what?
got Fintrail Cypress.
All right, number one portal class. Like that is a big deal. I feel like, but like what? Because they're getting good players. What is the difficult? You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like everybody's not attacking the portal. So like, how do you rate that as far as?
I don't know. I mean, it's however, like 24/7 on 3, all those just go through their evaluation process.
Because you got to feel like they're pouring. There's teams like Florida State who are on the verge of getting back to where they were, that are diving in that portal hard, and then you've got teams like Georgia
who's not.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to measure. But I mean, that is.
Well, I think for like Florida State or like for these teams that like they don't recruit high school at the level that Georgia does. Like even Alabama's used to portal some, but with them not using the high school recruiting the way it probably needs to be done. I mean, you're trying to fill immediate needs.
Are those counting against their scholarships for this year?
I feel like they have
to. They are, but I mean, they've got a lot of they've had a lot of attrition. There's been a bunch of people. I saw a stat yesterday that was, I think FSU brought in maybe 11 or 12 transfers and had like maybe 11 or 12 from transfer out.
So maybe a wash.
Well, and after they did like the adjusted ranking, the FSU player is like a 90 portal player, and the kids that were leaving FSU were like a 58. Yeah. So it shows that he's like flipping the roster. I mean, he's doing it with an untraditional way. But I think a lot of it too is like on the NIL front. They got a new NIL. It's called Battles End. And that's like basically like retaining guys that are already there. Like Fabian Lovett, like is coming back. Jamie Robinson, I think, is the only guy on the team that's going to leave.
That bread keeping them back.
Which is huge.
Hey, big things in Tallahassee, man. They finish the year strong.
Huge.
So, all right, before we talk, championship game, real quick update us, if you will, on our Bowl Mania as it's winding down. Have we got a clear winner already? Is it?
Well, it has gotten a little bit closer than it was previously. Heights now. Well, I take it back. I don't know how many. We've only got one game left, right? So
no, there's. Or is there only one? Is there only one game left? All the bowl games are played. Okay, so
yeah, so it's pretty much sealed up, but it did end up being closer. Heights, which is Jonathan Bregel, former East Lawrence Falcon kicker. He's 28-14.
That's solid.
Yeah, man. Gosh, if he'd have put money on every one of these games, he'd be sitting in good shape right here. Sunbelt Billy, whoever that is, kind of closed the gap. 22-20. Then
you go above 500 in 42
that's
games.
That's solid. I was telling Cam, which I know this isn't ours, so apologies for not completing one. But well, go ahead. I was looking this up.
Ed coming in third here. 21-21.
So best thing he's done all year.
He's going to come in with his chest poked out this morning.
And our boy BT from Georgia. 21-21 tied for third. Then my brother eclipsed me here. He's real proud of Buddy Johnson Road at 20-20. He started late.
Hey, take your thumb, flip it way up, and let me know where I'm at.
You, sir, dead last.
Dead last?
Well, other than the people who didn't make a pick at all.
Well, that's on them. They count.
You were 11-31.
Ooh. That's just about as bad as you. I mean,
yes.
Good gracious.
Yes. Anyway,
I was 11 so I was probably 42-0 without the spreads factored in though.
Anyway,
did we do it straight up or was it by the spread?
It was spreads.
I like that better personally.
Yes,
because the one I'm in was straight up, and which
that should be easier.
It was. I went 26-16. I like doing the spreads.
Yeah,
but nobody knows.
On straight up wins not near as impressive.
And nobody knows
unless you're taking the money line on all these, and then you're still in pretty fair shape.
Speaking of BT, shout out to BT and Parker Gordon, showing love in a little video. Man, we got to get clearance before we can upload it.
Great video.
Video after the Georgia game.
You could just see emotion just all over their face. Just two lifelong Georgia fans. BT, I know for sure, is one of the most intense, passionate Georgia fans of anything. I mean, it doesn't matter. You could any of these European people who love soccer and whatnot over soccer. BT, I put his fanhood for Georgia up against anybody.
So you can imagine the emotional. Imagine sitting by him at that game the other night. Probably would have been up and down.
Yeah, I've sat with him when we were in college at Georgia together a few times, and it was a sight to behold. I'll say that about it. He's a very, very passionate person.
But in that moment of so much excitement of Georgia winning the game, just the new year being on cloud nine, like one of the first things that comes to their mind is
let's check in with Big Ugly Sports, and my heart just swelled with pride.
Emotion, like hair on your neck, Stan.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was awesome.
That's good stuff. So, congrats to Jonathan Briggle. Looks like he's going to win. So we'll be getting him a shirt courtesy of Big Ugly Sports. Right. It is. We'll get that his way. I know he'll wear it proudly as he's a big fan of the show. So let's talk. Briefly, we've got UGA TCU, and before we talk about that, there was just need to go here.
I was about to go there for you.
Pat back on the TCU win.
You're the only person I know that called for the TCU win.
And if I recall, I'd have to go back and watch the footage. Listen, I felt like I got looked down upon a little bit, maybe scoffed at by
Not
YouTube.
from this side of the table.
He acknowledges here from the left side, but about how that wasn't going to happen, and
I did not think it was going to happen.
You're having to make yourself feel better after that 11-31.
I do. I am. But I would rather win here than there, though. I've already got a shirt.
I didn't think that it was going to happen. I did. I in my mind tip my cap to you for taking that underdog pick there, and it worked out for you good.
I mean, Sonny Dykes should be coach of the year.
What a year.
I mean, I don't think it should be in question.
What were they last year?
They were bad.
Below 500, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, how does that happen? Like,
they took a bunch of portal guys.
They caught lightning in a bottle.
And Duggan wasn't even starting the year. That's the backup quarterback.
That's another one. I mean, Step for Heisman, the pilot episode, brought Duggan to the attention.
You're talking about when you brought him to attention, but you couldn't tell us his
number,
you had not watched him play at all.
Really didn't watch any footage.
All I know is I was the only one that brought him up, and here we are.
But
he didn't win the Heisman.
I do appreciate the fact that when we called you on you not watching any film, you admitted that you did not watch any film.
It was like week 2, week 3. I didn't have enough film and huddle yet.
We kind of had him cornered when I asked the jersey number, and he couldn't recall it.
15, I think.
He started backpedaling, lost his balance, and then admitted he'd not watched any film.
It was still early in the season, but here we are.
So next Monday, boys, less than a week is going down. What are our feelings on the UGA TCU game?
Gosh, man, I tell you, after watching the defensive back struggle, which I know Rogers and I felt, and I'm leaving you out just because I'm not 100% sure where you were on this, Chuck, but I know Rogers and I had talked many times, and Edwards too, that our defensive backs at Georgia were going to be tested. Raji's on record as saying that Ohio State has some of the best skill guys in the country, and we did not play well. Ringo, which has been a guy that I've been,
he's a safety
concerned with.
He's a safety in the NFL.
It's funny you say that. A guy I play high school football with, he lives in Arizona. We were texting over the weekend. He's a Georgia fan as well, and he was talking about how we're going to win, and I said, man, I don't know. Our secondary is just suspect, and he says, it's going to be fine. You're always being a worrier, and I said, well, Ringo has me worried. He said, yeah, he's more of a safety really than a cornerback, and he just doesn't find the ball well when it's in the air. He gets himself in bad position.
He's stiff. He's a great straight line, but he's not great on break.
We got exposed a little bit in the secondary. We just could not really run with those guys. So now, the question is, does TCU have players? They have one dude that's pretty solid.
I can't remember what his name is, but
and their ground game's probably, I don't think it's nothing right.
TCU Duggan is not more talented than Ohio State.
No, but
Duggan's a player, man. But but back to the UGA Ohio State game. I was thinking about while you were talking, like you just think about the plays in that game. The Brock Bowers lunge for the first down, where he's essentially planked in the air. If he don't get that, we may not win the game. The Javon Bullard hit in the end zone.
Well, I think the biggest, it wasn't even a play of the game, was the timeout on the punt, on the fake punt. Because if Ohio State gets that, I think it's a wrap.
Right.
I think it's a wrap. I think.
And I've seen, at least, was there 12 people on the field? Is that the picture we've gotten from?
Well, and I think too is, which it was Kirby. Kirby called the timeout, but somebody upstairs had to see that. Because if you notice when Ohio State punted the entire game, it was kind of almost that spread style like almost rugbyed out, and then they were in a different formation for it. So somebody saw it upstairs, and they immediately called timeout. So I think that was one of the biggest crucial moments of the entire game.
Yeah, because they got it easily after that.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on UGA-TCU, Raj? Did you give up obviously dogs? You want to go ahead and throw out a
Yeah, dogs will win.
50?
Dogs by 50, as we like to say on here. But
Give me a prediction. Let's go some numbers.
I was off on my Georgia Ohio State. I thought Georgia by 10 or 14. I don't know. I mean, I'll say
We'll come back.
No, I'll go Georgia by 20.
Meanwhile, before he gives his prediction, the first thing he says to me yesterday is how he got the prediction right in the game. And I said, you predicted – no, he didn't say that. I said, you predicted 42-31. Yeah, I said 42. That was close. I said, yeah, but 31 was 10, 11 points off.
That's classic Raj.
But 42 was right. I mean,
it's classic.
It was right.
It was actually – I think he said 41-30. He said 42-31. Either way, he was right on one half, but that's the only half that he highlighted out of there.
Of course. Just my narrative.
All right, give me your take on the game and give me your prediction.
I think that Kirby's not going to get 40, hung up on his head again. I think that Georgia's going to be able to run the ball, which they ran the ball fine against Ohio State. I know they didn't run it as much, but with their running backs, they averaged almost like 10 yards a carry. So, I mean, I think that they are going to end up running the ball. TCU is not going to be able to match up athletically. I mean, Ohio State wasn't great on defense, but they could match up better with Georgia, even they gave up 40 points. They match up better. They're athletic, closer to athleticism as Georgia is than TCU is. So I think Georgia wins 38-21. I don't know why I keep hitting this table. 38-21.
I got a couple ideas.
Well, my thumbs are right here.
You have been known.
That's fair. I think Georgia wins like 38-21. I don't think it's going to be close at all.
38.
Yeah, I think kind of like you're saying, I think Georgia, I think they have their way on offense. I don't know in what aspect, with Monken having another week to prepare, and then just, I don't think they'll be able to stop us on the ground. Like you said, I don't think they'll be able to match up with us.
And Darnell's, everything was negative on his ankle, so he'll be back.
But I mean, Delp stepped in and played. That's how, that's the product of Georgia's really good recruiting is kind of the next man up. We've seen that all year, but
especially tight end room.
Mm-hmm. So Adam Logue sent that picture. I think he sent it to Jay, but I was there, and it showed that he took a pregame shot of it was Darnell, Delp, Bowers, and Goad, and they were standing on the field in their gray shirts. No, I mean, he said, "Yeah, our tight end room's not real small." I mean, they were just massive dudes out there. But so yeah, I think I'm with you. I think TCU will score. They may hit a big play. Number one, it's going to be tough to stop, but in the end, I mean, I think it's a 21-plus point game for Georgia. So
as long as Stet doesn't get pressured, I think he'll do well. He did not play well under pressure a few times versus Ohio State and turned the ball over once. I mean, really, really bad throw.
And a good sign in the game, the line moved from 13.5 to 14.5. So that's a good sign for Georgia. But shout out to Amarius Mims. Started and played the whole game at tackle. A Blakely County native, 20 miles up the road, Raji's hometown.
Eager to get Amarius on the show.
Yeah. We're going to try.
You got to make that happen. I mean, you got a connection with it since you tampered and tried to get into Florida State when he was coming out of high school and it didn't work.
If the battle's in, the NIL is there. He's at FSU right now, not Georgia.
But good game. So is Stet, real quick before we move on to next, looking back on the year and stuff, is Stet the greatest dog ever?
I think he's the
Is that a serious question?
Absolutely.
No, he's not. He's not. And I don't. I have turned into a guy who I want to pump sunshine to Stet as much as I can.
You've come a long way.
I have. But he is not the best dog ever.
He's not even the best Georgia quarterback.
No, he's not. He is a member of the potentially two best teams ever, right? But he's not the best dog ever. He's the best.
No, Stet is AJ McCarron of Alabama.
His story is better than AJ McCarron.
The story is, but as far as a player, that's who he is.
All right, greatest dog or not? Is there eventually something outside of the stadium to recognize him? Statue-esque.
No, and there shouldn't be.
No.
might be one day.
Why would they?
Cam's giving y'all 2 thumbs down. He believes so too.
No
Well,
chance.
for what? For what? I mean,
That's
like,
why he's behind the camera.
like
Quarterback has led 2 teams to the national championship.
okay.
Led.
Never happened before.
It's never happened before.
No.
Cam says he statted this up. There have been a handful, maybe a couple, that have taken their team to the national championship 2 years in a row, but nobody has won it as a starting quarterback consecutive years.
I'm not
Hey,
getting into the
in
argument on the
interstate.
narrative.
Well, I think that if you take the quote from Kirby Smart after the game,
Yes.
and you look at that and see what it really means, he's talking about how Stet's a system guy.
Listen, I'll take a system guy that throws
Yeah.
400
Yeah,
every
listen,
game.
nobody's arguing that, but you're also arguing that Stet should
I
have
asked
a
the question.
Heisman.
That's
That
Now-
Stet should have
now-
a trophy or whatever
Heisman
named after
statue.
him. Yeah,
We
Now-
probably need to start calling it
statue.
Stetson Bennett Award.
yeah.
So if
Come
you
on.
had an average defense and an offense that was led by Stetson Bennett as a 4,000-yard passer, that just he takes over the game and wins it. Sure,
I
Like,
agree with you there, but there's no. I mean,
Let
That
me
ain't
ask you
his
this.
fault.
Do you think?
well, it's not his fault that he's not as accomplished offensively as a lot of other guys.
Do you think that what Stet's done this year, and taking out, like I get, he's gone back to back. He's like, has what Stet's done this year more impressive than what Max Duggan has done?
Is it Dugan or Duggan?
Duggan, whatever, same thing. Is it more
Geoff
impressive?
Collins
Is it more impressive?
equally.
So a guy that's a quarterback that was on a 4-8 team last year, that's a Heisman finalist, that goes to a national champion.
Hold on, Cam's got something to say. Come in.
Just to refer to your 4,000 yards, Stetson Bennett's 177 yards away from breaking Aaron Murray's single season pass record of over 4,000 yards. So there's that.
Okay. Here's the thing. Everybody, and we'll move on after this. We've had this forever,
It's
but
a
everybody
great story,
hammers
man.
him. But when you look at the dude's stats,
Well, that's-
like it's up there with every
But
other
again, yeah,
quarterback that's been elite. And I understand you can look at him and say he's not, and that's fine. You put him on another team.
I get that.
We don't know that.
You're looking at the stats, but like
But that's
Stet's
what
game,
matters. Though.
but Stet's game to me the other night reminded me of like that UFC or that boxing fight. Like dude gets beat up 1 through 9 rounds, plays terrible, and then lands the knockout blow, and he ends up winning the
I
game.
wouldn't say
Which,
plays terrible. I mean,
he didn't play
it wasn't
good,
great.
man.
It didn't feel great. but-
At times he was really, really bad, and there were other times
which is
where he
which is what he's been all year.
But I would
Because
say
they
I
were-
would say an elite person is somebody that when the game's on the line, that dude threw dots all the way down the field in that last drive. The
I
game
think
winning drive, dot after dot. The
that's-
pass he threw to Kearis Jackson, elite level pass.
I mean,
Elite.
but there were other passes that were you're thinking, how can he make a throw that bad?
I agree. The pick would be the main one that stood out. But I mean that
Well,
and
I
then
think
the
on
one
the-
to
I think-
McConkey right there, the
the
little
little shot with the little screen. Yeah.
Well, I think too the touchdown was a great ball. That was a pure timing throw because he knew what he was going to be. Heck of a route by was it Arian Smith or AD Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Yeah, heck of a route if you watch it. Like, I mean, he shakes the dude off, and that's a pure time. He put the ball where he knew where AD was going to be at, and a lot. But I mean, and Stet's a great story. Like it's awesome. Like great for Stet, but to sit here and say that this dude is an elite level talent, it's absurd in my opinion.
Well,
it's absurd.
Here's what I say, or my opinion. He has been a great Georgia football player. Just a great dog. Loves Georgia, was bound and determined to play for Georgia. We all know his stories, what he's done. He has been a phenomenal story and a great quarterback for Georgia, and I think that he will go down as an all-time fan favorite, team favorite, one of the most. If he wins two
Which
natties
is
at
probably
the
going to
start,
happen.
right? So that puts him as the most accomplished college quarterback Georgia has ever had.
And if you're starting, let's say that you're starting a team and you've got all the quarterbacks that Georgia has had over the years, you're saying you would take Stet over Aaron Murray, you would take Stet over.
I don't have a reason not to.
Matt
I mean, he's going to
Stafford.
win 2 national championships.
It's
If
but,
we're looking just at college,
No,
you just said he's about to eclipse what Aaron Murray did. I mean, that's the leading passer.
are we going to be blind? But what I'm saying is, are you being blind to everything else that is around Stet and the support system? Like Aaron Murray did not have the guys
That's
Stet
where I
had.
go back to.
Like,
The other previous Georgia
Outside
quarterbacks
of
have
Brock
never-
Bowers, who does Stet have?
Well, he's got
Darnell's
four.
got-
He's got 4
Darnell's
and
gets
5-star
three-
guys all over the field.
Lad McConkey is his leading receiver.
Ladd,
He's a
Ladd is an,
3-star guy.
Ladd is an outlier. You're right. Ladd is
But
an
he's a
outlier.
leading receiver.
Wait, there's still
But you
5-star
also-
guys
you
all over
also-
the field.
I
Man.
think-
Okay, well,
Like,
if you're making that case, then C.J. Stroud, look at what's around him. That's an unfair comparison.
So you don't knock it over.
That's an unfair
Yeah.
comparison. Meanwhile, they
and
go
CJ
head to head
Stroud's
in the
best
game.
receiver, the best receiver on Ohio State's team didn't even play this year, and the second best receiver got hurt. Halfway through the game?
Okay, so
And
would you
didn't
say
even finish? He didn't even finish the
it was
game.
more than halfway through the game?
Well, regardless, that was the best player.
But you would say their two receivers outside. Now we're talking strictly receivers. Those two, Marvin Harrison and I don't even know how to say those dudes' last name.
I'm not even talking about him.
Yeah, but that's who I'm talking about, and they're better than any receiver Georgia has in the room.
those two are. Yeah.
Okay, well you don't play but 2 to 3
Yeah,
receivers.
but the
every play.
offensive line isn't as good as Georgia has. The running. We talked about this yesterday.
You
The
talk
running
about who
game.
they're throwing it.
The
to.
running-
That's what you said.
Right, but it's everything. He's surrounded by a lot
Hey,
better.
fans, turn the volume down on your video.
Well, he went head to head. He went head to head with C.J. Stroud, and his stat line was better. That's it. So let's move on. So let's look at our year in review here. We're running. We went. That was good. Good
a lot
talk.
of passion.
A lot of passion.
That's good stuff. I love it. We
So
will not have a statue.
okay, time will tell.
But I love him. Great.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
So year in
I can
review.
tell you this: if he has a statue, Stephen Edwards is going to do what the guy did to Toomer's Corner. That was the Alabama fan that
He's
poisoned
gonna
the trees.
Poison the statue.
He's going to find some way to get that statue knocked down.
Oh, yeah, I'm tired of hearing Steve talk.
Ed's a hater.
Bad. So
Oh, good.
as we reflect, like I said, this is our first episode of 2023. So we started the pod back in September.
Yep, September 20th.
20.
Because that was when I said Stet for Heisman. I said he'd get there. September 20th.
Always remember it. So we win every week. I don't think we've taken a week off, have we?
No.
Every Tuesday steady. So, it's been a great year for us. We were just kind of talking about some of the things we've done other than just starting the podcast where our viewership's grown. We've had started with Bill Leroy from the Savannah Bananas as our first celebrity guest.
And we've even had the top 10 NCAA football recruiter and Nick Easton on.
Yep, the 24/7 sports list came out of top recruiters in the college football league, and he was at number 6. Nick Easton. So if you hadn't listened to that interview from Clemson, go back and listen to it. We've had college athletes come on, college basketball coaches. So it's been. I think we exceeded what I thought we could have done within the first
Absolutely.
3 months.
Well, we didn't land Arthur Blank like Wyatt Curry said we might could, but we're not far from it.
Not far. We had the Florida State beat writer, all things Florida State.
Never mind.
So we were able to take a trip, 2 trips.
Yeah.
We went to the Hawks game. We had the foam finger incident, which everybody's fan favorite, and then we had the UAB trip. So
We had foam finger to finger in your drink over the year. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a great year as far as going back to the Masters. Shout out to Josh Gay and Jerry Lawson. I had an invitation to go to the Masters. Hadn't been since '97, so it was a great trip, and it didn't cost me a dime really.
how does he do it? This dude will land on a free ticket. Like he's the cheapest guy you meet,
I don't know.
but he continues to land on people just giving him stuff.
People, and I'm so thankful. It's just it's been a blessed
so
2020.
humble.
Just gosh, then we go over to the Braves. Those folks from Lions, great people in Lions. I've always said if I wasn't from Buddy Johnson Road, I'd be from Lions. But tickets to the Braves game behind the dugout, free tickets there. Then I had
Which parlayed into some good
Yes.
seats further on.
a couple other times, and Roger getting stuck in the stadium.
They cut him, bring out the jaws of life, cut him out of the seat.
Then the Hawks. Hawks thanks Wade Hill. Great fan of the show, just a great guy.
Don't do that.
Keep going. You're
Is he
talking
not?
this like-
Well,
Is he
don't
not?
gas him up. Don't gas him up because you're trying to get back in good with him because you
But
costed
you know,
us a trip.
I don't really feel like I've ever
He's
done.
going to text me about this.
That's fine. And Wade,
Where are we at with the Falcons tickets this week against Tampa Bay?
I'll reach out, but this wound's he's still healing.
Wade,
there's still a wound
just
to heal.
know,
Put
just
a
know
Band-Aid on the bullet hole.
that was a big deal for me to go to that game, to the Hawks game, and I appreciated it. And then moving on to Charlie Cox, my boy, Charlie Cox.
Well, you forgot UAB.
Oh yeah,
Shout out Paul McCall.
Shout out Phil Pearson, Paul
Pearson,
McCall.
Coach Pearson, Paul. UAB, and then to top it off, the best, save the best for last. I mean, the Georgia game was. That may be, well, I said right after the fact that it was the best game in college football history. It's not, but best one I've ever been to,
It was good.
and probably the best Georgia game I've ever
So,
watched.
so you would say 2022 was a big year for Big O Sports.
Oh yeah, and 23 is hopefully only going to be better.
We've already got one show we know that's coming out that's going to be a really good episode that we're going to drop at some point this year. We got the golf tournament in April, the Raider Invitational that we'll get in as Big O Sports team. We're going to have some trips planned. It's going to be an exciting year.
That's right.
So before we make our 2023 predictions, we're going to make some Big O Sports show predictions. We're going to make some Big O Sports predictions, just random. We're going to do that because I know if anybody in here loves to make a prediction and then try to land on it, it's Raji. So
yeah, Pat Stradamus loves to.
But before we do that, I have a random and
great hit rate.
And I'm gonna bring Cam over eventually to Cambodia to chime in on this. But I was thinking about it on my way to work this morning, so I want to know. And this is completely switching gears, but we're gonna come back. I want to know when the most awkward time in your life where you broke wind.
Is this cause of Rick and Bubba?
Yes, I heard it on the way this morning. So I want to know. It made me think. What's the most awkward time in your life where you may have ripped one and you either panicked and it was awkward? I'll lead out to give you guys time to think. So I was in 7th grade. I was in Miss Pam Stroud's class, which is, shout out to Coach Stroud, my high school football, his wife. I'm in there and got my buddy beside me named Brian McCoy, who was funny and always got me in trouble because he would do stuff that would make me laugh and I couldn't hardly keep it together, and then I'd be getting in trouble by Miss Stroud and blah blah blah. Well, this one day, he's got me giggling, and it's right after lunch too. And I'm rolling, I start cackling, and I just rattle one, and it was the wood desk too, the wood jet shot in, and it
Vibrated
loud. And then I was one of those kids too that when I got embarrassed, face bloodshot red, real awkward, uncomfortable. So I immediately start at him. and everybody that knows it's me, and I end up having to go sit in the hallway, and it was real bad. But man, I was as embarrassed as I could be. But
you got sent out of the hallway because you tooted.
It was loud and disruptive, and I couldn't stop, and laughing
Get it together.
Couldn't. And so once I got in trouble, though, my mood changed because I didn't like to get in trouble either. So y'all fire, come on.
Gosh, I can't think of any. Right offhand.
Cambo, you got one back there?
This is strange that this came to thought. Came to my mind. 5th grade, I can remember.
East Lawrence Elementary.
East Lawrence Elementary, yeah.
ELE, baby.
I guess we're at break time or maybe a class party. I'm not really sure what the event was, but how there's a bar on the side, a metal bar. Well, I dropped something over the side of my desk. Their bar. I lean over the bar and I can't really reach it. I can't reach the item, a pencil or something, crayon, whatever. So I had to reach a little farther, and I guess my belly just pressed on that metal bar, and butt in the air,
torpedo.
And it was one of those things that, thankfully, in 5th grade, I wasn't even embarrassed. We'd all just laughed about it and. Whatever.
7th grade was that, you're trying to be cool too. So I had some pretty girls.
And knowing you who loves to be cool and tries to be Mr. Smooth. That was tough for you.
I'm sure to come back.
I don't know if I've got the closest thing I have is maybe the bear brawl incident.
Yeah, but that was no gas was passed there though. That was
there was gas passed, but not in a public forum. So
let's keep it clean here.
We're playing at Houston County in the bear brawl, and I think we ate Stevie B's maybe before we played. I can't remember if it was.
And let's recall for what you ate there.
Oh, I went dumb though. But now mind you, the slices are a little big.
It was roughly between regular and dessert. I watched it. It was close to 20.
It was 18. I think I tapped that.
That's close to 20,
which is right there knocking on the door. 20.
I did. I went hard in the paint. But so we're playing. I can't remember.
I bet you prefaced it that you were starving.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I didn't eat breakfast that morning. Just
no salad bar, no pastas,
no napkin.
Went straight
locked in.
Yeah. So we're playing Hoko. We already ate Stevie B's, and then I'm sitting on the bench, and I'm keeping stats on the iPad. And all of a sudden, it hits me. like bad. And I'm trying to I'm trying to squirm, like, trying to stay in the game.
Now, mind you, I don't have. He's my only assistant at the
I
time.
bet the sweat set in.
It was bad. So I'm like,
And if you could have seen his attire, he's in like dirty jogging pants with a raggedy sweater with his bell hanging out.
Probably had some stains from Stevie B's.
Yeah,
he will get a stain on the clothes.
probably, but I get I mean, it hits me. So I get up to go to the bathroom, and I'm in there decent amount of time. Well, at the time I'm coming back out to get on the floor, they're coming in for halftime. So I've been in there for about the whole second quarter in there.
I turn around during the second
Yeah.
quarter to ask him a question.
He didn't even tell you.
No, he's gone.
I told one of the kids. I can't remember who it was. I told. I said, "Well, I'll be right back in the bathroom."
So now we have to go have a halftime speech into just the stench of Raj.
That's just like when I went as the bus driver to Rutland, ended up being the bench coach because you had to get up and leave, and I almost got chuck tossed.
But now he's the head coach, and he can't. He's got to make sure he monitors how he feels before games because he can't afford to.
Yeah, I can't have any scares.
He's more like just a couple pieces of bread and some water before the game.
Yes, if that.
All right, so
shout out Mr. Wade. Maybe get a hamburger before the game.
Mr. Wade.
Mr. Wade.
So let's make some just predictions for 2023. Maybe is there a place that you can predict we make a trip to? And do you have a sports prediction, whether it be college football, whatever sport you want, baseball, about who maybe wins?
I've got two.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Or do you want to go?
You got it.
FSU plays in the Natty.
We're serious here.
Yeah, FSU plays in the Natty.
Before you go, the thing about
he does want to go.
But bold predictions, they can't be just what you want. It can't just be.
Yeah,
Georgia wins again.
Yeah,
like
I think FSU's going to play. They're going to play in the Natty. I think they're going to go 11-1, and because now the ACC is changing where it's not an Atlantic versus Coastal. It's the best two teams. So I think Clemson and FSU will play. I think that FSU is going to beat LSU and lose to Clemson at Clemson, and I think that they play them again in the ACC championship, beat them. And then the other one is the Falcons make the playoffs.
No bus predictions.
I think we get to go to a Clemson game this year. Would be mine. Yeah. And also just go here. Call Tyler Algier just being an absolute beast for the Falcons. 1,000-yard rusher.
He did.
And I had him on my fantasy team, drafted him early, dropped him after 3 games.
It took him a little time to get going.
Yeah. What you got?
Well, gosh.
All right, Danny. Said, all right, Danny.
I know. Well, it's hard because Braves are really good. So it's not, I don't know if it's a bold prediction to say, and I honestly don't think they win the division. And then Georgia's really good. Here, I guess here could be my bold prediction. Georgia doesn't. It's not really a bold prediction, I guess. Georgia just doesn't skip a beat with the quarterback change. I think that's something I am concerned about, but I do think that because of the system and I think the talent in the quarterback room at Georgia doesn't miss a beat with a new quarterback.
And you talk about, I've heard you say it on record too, Georgia's defense should be like.
Well, they're going to be filthy next year.
Gosh, I wish I had something better.
So, do you have a bus prediction? Mine was going to be kind of what?
I thought we were going to go to Tallahassee. Well, I thought.
We can do that.
Well, I would love to go FSU, Clemson at Clemson.
I would love to go just to watch you in your element at a FSU game. And I'm not like you. I know you hate Georgia because of jealousy and other things. But
that's exactly it, jealousy.
But I would love to go to Tallahassee in a game day environment, just an experience. I've been to Clemson. I've been to Neyland. I've been, to Georgia. I've been to Tech. I'd like to go to Tallahassee and see, you'd show us around and you'd probably be crying and stuff out of being emotional about how Bobby Bowden this, and you'd be wearing your straw hat and saying dadgum.
All that's probably going to happen.
I've got a few predictions. Bus related, I believe we go to Tallahassee, Clemson, and Athens next football season and do our pod live on the grounds of Tailgate Grounds. Where we set up like this and we roll and we have our signs out.
That's funny you say, because I was thinking about some signage and stuff before.
We'll get some official signs. We'll pick up some followers. We'll bring people in for some raw interviews. Maybe even have live capabilities by then. So that's my bus prediction there.
I do have one personal
Can I
prediction.
finish mine? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds. That's it. Throwing it out there.
Well, you've been able to do that and overnight one time this year.
I believe that in the Raider Invitational, the bus team shoots 5 over.
I think that's a win for us.
Mhm.
We're only 5 over.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a good thing for us.
I think we win it.
Yeah.
Here.
We'll have some footage of that. That's coming April. And I believe the Braves win the World Series next year. And I'm not sure if they win the division between them and the Mets. I believe they get in, but I think the Braves will. I think we're getting overlooked. I think the Mets are getting all the attention, but I think our young arms and our young talent is really going to rise. I think whoever plays shortstop, Grissom, whoever it is, has a big year, and Braves get it done. So
I could see Acuna winning the MVP if he's healthy.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Just make sure that you continue to listen to us on Spotify, Apple. Leave us 5-star reviews. Maybe even a subscription.
Be sure to check us out on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. You know, Twitter's not doing much, but
Also, East Lawrence coming over today. We got JV girls, JV boys, varsity girls, varsity boys. So make sure you come out.
Yeah, full day of basketball. Make sure, guys, if you're on YouTube and watching, our viewership's been up there. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on these social media things we're talking about. Make sure you give us a rating, 5 stars, whatever, 3, however you feel about it. Like us, subscribe us. That's how we're able to track how many listeners we have. Because this year we will be seeking some sponsors. So we thank you for your listening. Thank you that you're here with us, and whatever you're doing, wherever you're at.
Get on that bus.
Get on that bus. It's a movement.